What's up, guys? It's your boy Luca Bazooka here to talk to you today about a very interesting topic. And as you know, there has never been a time when the Wenger out brigade has ever been in its best form of its life as of now in this moment. In case you didn't know, in case you missed it, Arsenal recently got destroyed disgracefully out of the Champions League with the aggregate of 10-2 over both legs in the round of 16 at the hands or feet of Bayern Munich. And that has led fans to, continue pouring more fuel in the Wenger out. Wenger out. He has to leave now. He's been here too long. Nothing has changed. He's still the same. And the team is still playing garbage football. And the owners of the club are only getting richer because they obviously don't give a damn about the club. But again, now I'm just here to talk about who should get the blame. Now, before I give my opinion, let me just say I am not an Arsenal fan. Just so you know, I'm not an Arsenal fan. I'm just not on board the whole Wenger out thing. Now, that doesn't mean that I think Wenger should stay. No, in my opinion, he needs to leave, and a couple players in the club too need to leave with him. He needs to leave because he has already peaked back in the early 2000s with the Invincibles, with Thierry Henry and the rest of the lads. And this is 2017. It's been the same thing over and over again. He's not the manager to take the team to the next level of competitiveness, the next level of being taken serious, and the next level of form for his players. He is not that manager. I mean, the game has already gone past him and evolved past him, and he has remained the same. Although he is the manager, you need to maintain consistency in, just being in the Champions League and, just getting out of your group and blah, blah, blah. But as far as reaching that next level, as far as being able to compete with the other top teams, Arsene Wenger is not that manager. And on that stance alone, he needs to leave the club. But now, back to who deserves the blame for the numerous and uncountable years of just mediocre or scratch that below average potential display from this Arsenal squad. Don't get me wrong, this is a very talented Arsenal squad. They have the best playmaker, the best youngish playmaker in the world in Mesut Ozil. And holy cow, he is being wasted playing for Arsenal. His numbers are, cool, but at the end of the day, it doesn't amount to anything competitive other than an FA Cup, which really isn't much. But anyways, now I'm here to talk about the fact that the blame should not solely fall upon Wenger. Why? Because I think it has to be 50-50 between the manager and the players. It has to be 50-50. It is not Wenger's fault when Koslini gets sent off versus Bayern, and then he has to watch his team concede 4 goals in a short span of time and then end up getting blown out of the competition. That is not Wenger's fault. It is not his fault when these grown men, in the Arsenal backline, have a lapse in concentration and can't keep up with play all of a sudden, and then they concede. And then, it just looks shameful. In case you didn't know, they just lost to West Brom 3-1. West Brom. Let that sink in. Anyways, again, these things are not Wenger's fault. I think he gives them the game plan, and it is up to them to execute it to the best of their abilities, and that has not been happening. So far, Sanchez and Ozil, of course, have been wasting their time, especially Perez, the second striker who came from Deportivo this season. He too has been wasting his time over there, but I don't think he cares anyways. He's getting a huge pay raise, more than he could ever make playing for Deportivo. But I just think that it is unfair to just label or to just drop everything on Wenger's shoulder and say, look, he's the problem. You know, he has to go. He has to get out. No. Again, this needs to be a 50-50 deal. It has to be a 50-50 deal. If Wenger has to leave, Jack Wilshere should no longer be playing for Arsenal. Welbeck, Giroud, Koscielny, I'm sorry, but he has to go. Mertesacker, dude is like slow as a cow. He needs to go too. Those are just a few to name. These dudes, they have to leave. And of course, Arsenal owners too, they have to leave, obviously, because it doesn't look like they have any ambition or give a damn about being competitive. They just want to just be those people that show up to the party and attend the party but don't really party. They're just there, and then when it's time to leave, they leave, or they get booted out the party beforehand. But again, like I said, if Wenger has to leave, a couple of the players have to leave. Today I'll be using Chelsea as a case study to show you that the blame should not solely fall on the manager. The manager does not. I don't think Arsene deserves even half of the truckload of just garbage finger pointing that has been thrown his way. Now look at Chelsea last season. If any one of you kept close watch of Chelsea's last season, you would notice that they were far away from top 10, top 15. They were almost to one point, I think, battling relegation. They were already below mid-table, even though they managed to crawl their way up a little bit. But you know, they were battling relegation with Jose Mourinho, who ended up getting fired 5 months after they were crowned Premier League champions, due to the fact that the players were underperforming. And again, like I said, if you watch them, you would notice that there was one too many instances where the players put in some criminal performance. You can even have from Hazard down to the defense. I think only maybe was it William? That was the only player that season that gave a damn about playing for Chelsea. I guess the rest of them just probably wanted Mourinho out or whatever, or just didn't give a damn anymore. But only William gave a damn about, you know, showing up and turning up for Chelsea. Then again, you could also say it is a Mourinho thing to never last long at a club. His third season is always a disaster-ish. You can look back at his history with Madrid and I think Inter, because some of the players that spoke out against him. But again, there's Chelsea last season is for me the main reason why some of the blame that is going to Wenger should not all be on him, because you also have to look at the players. You can't just say Wenger has to go and then think that if the club does decide to sack him, the next manager that they will hire is going to be this tactical, astute guy that, you know, just knows everything about football and is going to get the guys running and playing the football and, you know, being competitive and being a serious team and no longer a joke. That is not set in stone anywhere. It is not written anywhere. It is not guaranteed. The next guy that could come in could be even just as mediocre and could even get fired mid-season. That's why, again, Wenger does not deserve even half of the blame that has been thrown on his shoulders. Now, I am not a Wenger apologist. No, I'm just looking at things from a different perspective. Even though there is every chance that if Arsenal do give a damn about getting a new manager, you know, this guy can come in and get all the other lads, you know, up and running like they're supposed to, and, you know, he could get the team performing to the potential that they can. But again, that is not set in stone. It is not guaranteed. And if you look in the market, there really isn't any top class managers available. Although Luis Enrique said he is leaving Barca after the season, but then again, we don't know if he's going to go to another club or if he's, going to go take a break before he decides what he's going to do next. So that's that. And there's also Diego Simeone. Even though he signed a 1-year contract extension with Atletico, again, it's still not guaranteed that he would actually want to go to Arsenal and bother with them. And apart from that, I don't think there are many, or I don't think there are any available managers with a good reputation or big name managers that are available or going to be available in the near future. Now, back to what I was saying. If you're going to call for Arsene to leave, then you should also call for some of the players in the team to leave, because again, it is still possible that Arsene Wenger could leave. I know that's not possible, but even though he doesn't want to leave, but theoretically, it is still possible that Arsene Wenger could leave, and then a new manager could come in, and these same set of players can still perform in the same mediocre, haphazard way that they've been doing under Wenger, and you'd still get the same result. They'd still get destroyed out of the Champions League. They'd still get ridiculed all over the league, and they still probably lose to West Brom by 3 goals. That can happen. So, which is why I'm not buying into the whole hype of the entire internet and calling for Wenger's head. I'm not buying into that. He is not the only one on the team. You have to look at it as a whole. Look at Wenger and look at his players. You can't just look at Wenger and say, oh, well, he's the manager, so everything spawns from him, so he has to go too. No, you have to also hold these players accountable. You have to hold them as accountable as you hold Wenger. It has to be even, because it is not fair on Wenger's part to get criticized when his team just falls apart and goes through a mental breakdown and concedes and just loses a crucial match. And then they get made fun of. Now, the one thing that I will really just dig into Wenger for is his undying loyalty to certain players. Now, don't get me wrong, that is good for a manager to always, believe in his players, even in their worst time, to keep playing them and keep, instilling confidence in them in hopes that, they will play out the bad form or bad stretch. But in the case of Jack Wilshere, I'm sorry, 18-year-old Jack Wilshere is and will always be better than 25-year-old Jack Wilshere, 30-year-old Jack Wilshere, and so on and so forth. Now, don't get me wrong. Again, a manager showing confidence in his player and being loyal to them is a great thing, but there comes a time when you just have to let go. There comes a time when you just have to cut your losses and move on. The Arsene Wenger, Jack Wilshere love story has gone on for too long. It's high time it met its end. And once again, as I end, I just want to say I still think Arsene needs to leave Arsenal and just call it a day and just retire, go chill somewhere. But again, to those people calling for his head, you also have to call for the heads of the players on the team. You also have to call for the heads of the constant underperformers. You also have to call for the head of those that are not really, giving their all in these hard times. You also have to call for their heads too, not just Arsenal. The manager should not be the only one that gets to pay for the sins of everybody else. Sorry, Arsene is not Jesus Christ, so that doesn't apply to him. He's a human being. And, a team does not consist of one person. Which is why the blame, again, like I said, it has to be 50-50. 50 on the players and 50 on Wenger. Because he's the manager, which is a very high position. But the players too deserve some blame. They deserve some criticism. And that's all I have to say for today. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Like, share, subscribe. I'm out.